everyone. Honorable Minister for Education, Executive Director of CENDLOS, Directors of agencies under the Ministry of Education and other agencies, Country Director and agencies of CENDLOS partners, distinguished professors and teachers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be here at this conference. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. When I was invited by Nana to attend the conference, I really didn't know what to expect. But I must say that I'm very impressed with what I've seen. I think that a lot of work has started, and I know that we are going to build on that to make things even much better. I just want to give a brief overview of what I have taken from the conference before I start my actual topic. So for online learning or distance learning to be very successful, especially with online learning, because I've been involved in online learning for a very long time, there are a couple of things that need to be present. There should be some form of learning management system, something that's used to transmit the content to the learners. And the elements could be of any kind. So that's one thing that I've seen that has been worked on, because we've talked about a lot of them already, right? We now have the learning passport coming. We have the iCampus already there that could be used. We have NDDLC, if I'm saying it correctly. So I think that one is being built, and there's always room for improvement. So I'm very sure that with the energy we have at CENDLOS, I know a lot will be done about that. So the fact for that is we don't have any excuses anymore, because we have some systems and we can usually always build on that. For those of us in tertiary education here in Canada, here in Ghana, I hope that we also would take some kind of clues from what CENDLOS has already done and be able to improve whatever systems we use so that we can be able to transmit or move our online learning forward, because we need that very much in order to make it successful. I know some institutions have some learning management systems, but usually either they don't use it or they don't use it fully. And I'm saying this because I've been involved with some of the universities here in Ghana, organizing some training programs. And I know that sometimes the learning management systems are not really used to the full capacity. So I believe that from now, we are really going to take the step to make sure that we are using these tools to enhance what we've already started. The other component of e-learning that's very important is the content development. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, not too much, because we've heard a lot about that already. And I think that also is being done. I've seen that a lot has already started, and the content development is being carried forward, meaning that we don't have any excuse anymore, right? That's another very important part, and it's already started. So all we need to do is improve what we've done, keep going, and then in no time, we will be at where we really want to be. So I hope that that also is going to carry on and get completed. The next part is the delivery. So the delivery of the content, right? And to deliver the content, we have the tools, we actually developed the content. Now, who is going to deliver? The teachers or the professors, right? So the delivery part is extremely important, and that's where capacity building actually comes to play. So I'm very glad that that's part of what CENDLOS is working on. And I'm sure that the universities or other tertiary institutions are also doing the same, because training the teachers and the professors will be very key in making these things very successful. I mean, you cannot have e-learning without teachers who actually know what they're doing. And I think that that's something we are going to build on and make sure that it actually works. I think I heard a question one of the days about what do we teach the teachers? Like, how do we train the teachers? What do we have to teach them to do? So a lot of things, being very, very good at using the systems, but also being able to create content, right? Because they are the subject matter experts. So they should be able to create the content. And in creating the content, it's not just making notes, it's actually being able to create the content in a format that can be used for online learning or the traditional distance learning. So I'm sure that that also would work. And given the energy I've seen, I have hope that this is going to really move forward, because my colleagues and I we usually sit down and we really think about what could be done in Ghana, what's being done already. So I'm so glad that I came, and I see that a lot has been done, and I hope that things will move forward. The other thing I want to talk about briefly is about the competition that's going to exist among local institutions and international organizations. So as we talk about online learning, distance learning, and improving them, now, I think we have to think about the fact that there are a lot of institutions in Ghana, and each one of them is going to try and make sure that they do something. Now, who is going to be at the forefront of this? Which institutions will be the ones that have the best solutions, the best options that students would want to go to? So very soon, if you're not careful and you didn't really bother to make an improvement, you're going to lose students because you're going to go to the other school or the other university that has the best options for them, right? So it's not a matter of people losing their jobs because of technology. It's also a matter of institutions losing students because they didn't do well to be able to improve what they are doing. And so students are looking for better options, right? And it's not just the local universities or schools or colleges here in Ghana. There are a lot of international organizations also going around because guess what? It's online learning. They can have students from Ghana. So why not? If technology allows the fees to be cheaper, then we're going to have students who would like to take these courses or programs from other institutions around the world. And we are losing students in that sense, right? So let's try to build on what we have because we have a lot. And we'll be able to make our standards global so that people would want to take programs from here, right, in Africa, right, both our neighboring countries and elsewhere. People would like to be part of what's going on here, and we're going to see a lot coming into the country. Then finally, in terms of what I've taken here is the validity of the degrees. I know that we've all changed our mindset now. So if you are not recognizing online or distance education degrees, then you're just making a mistake because it's not like that anymore. Now, if you were in a university, for example, and somebody came to apply into your school with an online degree, and you decided that, oh, this is not really valid, it's not as competent, it's not as good as the traditional one. Now, guess what? You are offering online learning too, maybe. So are you saying that the degree or the diplomas that you are offering are not good, right? So think about it that way. We should really try to ensure that we bridge that gap and realize that distance education, online learning degrees are equally good, equally valid, and therefore we recognize them as such and be able to give everyone the fair opportunity for them to really do their best. So these are some of the things I've taken from the conference. I'm going to have to send a report to my director, and I'm going to have a lot to say because I see that a lot is being done, and then we are also ready to support in any way that we can. So that's a little overview of what I've learned. So back to what I'm going to talk about today. I'm from George Brown College in Toronto. We are predominantly a college. We offer both diploma and degree course and degree programs. So we have about 172 full-time programs, but we are not a very big school. It's just about 31,000 students. So we have about 172 full-time programs, a government-funded institution. And we have 8 centers in the school with about 29 different schools within the centers. So we already started online learning a long time ago before COVID. And so, especially for my classes, whenever I develop my classes, I don't really think about online or offline. I create them all in the same way. So even if it's a face-to-face class, I really create my learning management system shell as if it were to be online so that we can do both. So even though we meet in class, students have all the resources at their disposal even when they are not in class, right? So they have a lot to do before we meet in class. So that's what we do there. Now, I'm just going to talk briefly about content development. So we've talked a lot about this already at the conference, and so I don't really want to take a lot of time to do this. And the time is short, right? I'm a teacher, so using like 15, 20 minutes. It's a challenge, but I'm going to I'm going to try and make sure that this is short and it's not going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to talk about two main tools or two main strategies that I use for content development. And one of them is universal design for learning, which I've heard already being talked about here. Usually we use some of these strategies without really thinking about what they are. But I must say that from what I've seen from CENDLOS's iCampus, I realize that they are already using universal design for learning because they have multiple means of all the different principles out there. So I have a little video that I would like us to watch just to emphasize some of the things that we've already heard. And I'll just talk very briefly about that because I don't want to take too much time. And then we'll move on to the next tool that I would like to talk about. So if you could please show the video, that would be wonderful. The first one on UDL. This is produced by my school because we have a teachers development section of the school, and usually they produce short videos to help us, improve our
teaching. So welcome to the TLX just-in-time quick tutorials just for GBC faculty. My name is Ravinder Brar. I'm the UDL integration lead at the college, and I'm excited to talk to you about universal design for learning.
One of the amazing things about George Brown College is our rich and diverse student population, along with our staff. As you know, students at GBC come from unique lived experiences. That's why it's essential for educators to employ a multitude of teaching strategies that reflect this diversity. Universal design for learning is a great way to capitalize on the diversity in our classrooms. Our classrooms include an increasing number of English language learners, students with different accessibility needs, students from diverse cultural socioeconomic backgrounds, mature students. This list goes on. So how do you ensure these students can make the most out of your learning resources, follow along with presentations, stay engaged and feel included? Universal design for learning. UDL is a teaching framework that utilizes strategies to enhance the learning experience for the widest range of learners. It's all about ensuring the curriculum is designed to be accessible and responsive for all learners, because it's essential that students get the most out of your course and expertise. The good news, you're probably already including some UDL elements in your practice without realizing it. The key is to recognize your inclusive teaching practices and build upon them in an intentional way. The Center for Applied Special Technology, also referred to as CAST, is a leader in this field, and they recognize the importance of acknowledging variability as the norm. CAST set out to create an inclusive learning framework that addresses this variability, specifically to reduce barriers for students with disabilities. Through their work, they quickly learned that the recommendations they were making for students with disabilities benefited all students, hence, universal design for learning. UDL is based on research in the field of neuroscience, and the framework created by CAST promotes 3 core principles for educators to build into their teaching practices. Engagement is a vital element for learning, and students differ greatly in the ways in which they can be motivated to learn. Provide students with options and choices to fuel their interests. The next principle focuses on how to present teaching materials to students to maximize their understanding and learning. Ensure you provide information in multiple media through text, video, audio, graphics, and much more. This gives learners options to learn in a way that works best for them. Highlight the critical features and activate background knowledge, and ensure all materials are accessible. The last principle focuses on how students can demonstrate what they've learned. Provide choice of assessment instruments while maintaining robust learning outcomes. Give students options and choices to demonstrate what they know, and provide feedback to support the different levels of proficiencies. Empowering students and nurturing individual potential is what inclusive design is all about, and it helps remove obstacles that may be interfering with students' learning. Constructing a flexible course that gives learners choice and autonomy while maintaining the same learning outcomes and expectation for all students is the goal of UDL. There is much more to explore. Use UDL as a lens to look at your teaching practices to better reach all learners. Explore the interactive CAS guidelines as you intentionally design and execute your classes. Register through Cornerstone to attend TLX webinars. Connect with your colleagues in your team and start a community of practice where you can share UDL best practices. This can help widen access and increase inclusion to support diversity in our classrooms at GBC.
Thanks for taking the time to learn more about Universal Design for Learning. This has been a TLX just-in-time quick tutorial just for GBC faculty.
Okay, thank you very much. So this video talks about it all. I don't really have to talk much. I think it's just a summary of what we really heard over the course of this conference, because we saw the iBox and we realized that the content development there somehow follows these principles, right? Because there is the engagement part where students have different activities to engage in, and there is the representation part where we saw that the content is provided in multiple formats. And that's extremely important when we have online learning. And then we have the expression part where we allow students to also express themselves in different forms. So let's say you have a project work at school for